Hi, everybody, and welcome to Design Time. This episode of Design Time is going to talk about journals, blogs, and wikis. Not necessarily how to use them in Blackboard. I believe we did that in another episode, but this time we're going to talk about when to best use them. So why would I use a journal in my class? Why would I use a blog? Or why would I use a wiki? And how are they different than discussion boards? So the first thing I want to show you in this demonstration course is we're going to dive into a journal. And the only reason I'm showing it to you in Blackboard is I'm not going to go through the details, but I want you to see what it looks like. Now, journals are best used as a reflection tool. Most of the time, and they're probably best used this way, they're private. So they're private between the student and the instructor. So you may ask your students, and I know journals are used a lot in capstone courses and any practicum or internship courses because you want to hear from the student how their progression through their experiences in their internship and capstone is going. And so you can ask them to do weekly reflections, and that's private. So that's not something any other students would see, and it's something that the students can feel confident that they're only speaking to you as the instructor. And what that looks like here is just this. You can prompt a question, and then they would respond to this. And you can, any of these tools in Blackboard, you can grade from inside Blackboard. So that's a journal. So think of a journal as a one-on-one conversation with your student over time, okay? Now let's jump into blogs. The blogs and the wikis get a little bit more, not as easy to grasp as a concept, so let's talk through them. So a blog is best used to comment on something. So think about the blogs that maybe you follow, and people are posting articles, they're posting their opinions, they're, if you are a Pinterest crazy person like I am, then they are commenting and posting how to do a million things, but there's comments involved. So the audience, the people who read the blog, are commenting. However, there is no obligation or expectation that there be a back and forth. So a great example of this is a letter to the editor. So there's going to be a letter sent into the editor that gets published. It's commented on, but there's no expectation that the person who wrote the letter needs to start responding to all of those comments. It's just a place to store and see how people are commenting. So you may ask, how do I use that in my class? Well, you might want to see that students have read through an article or an opinion piece or some case study, possibly, and then you want to ask the student to respond to that. So you want to ask the student to comment on it in a collegial way. Maybe they cite their own source to back up their decision, but there's no expectation that there will be a discussion or a debate. That's where the discussion board really comes in. You want that back and forth. You want to keep a conversation going. That's when you go to the discussion board, not the blog. So we'll go into the blog here. You will see that the functionality or the tool itself looks very similar to the journal. It'll look similar in the blogs. It'll also look very similar in the wiki, but we'll go into the wiki and I'll explain how that's a little different. Also, the blog can be graded within Blackboard. So that's its best feature, is that you can grade it within here. So you'll see that a post has been here, as you probably have seen over and over again. We're big Harry Potter fans here in CETIS Design, so everything's about Harry Potter when we use our demonstration courses. And so the question here is read this book version of a new Harry Potter play and talk about it, comment on it, and then it just kind of goes from there. Okay, lastly, let's talk about wikis. Wikis are probably the most difficult to kind of conceptualize in that a wiki is best used as a collaboration tool. It's a place where a group of students or an entire course can contribute to one thing. So a really good example might be asking your class to develop a glossary on a specific topic or field or area of expertise, where all the students would then contribute to one wiki, which would become the glossary. Another option is if you have a group of students doing a paper, they can do a first draft in the wiki, because the wiki will keep what they call versioning. So as it changes, it keeps track of every person who's contributed to that project, and you can see who they are and what they've done. So that really helps in grading, participation, and also seeing what student did what to contribute to this project. So it allows you to track that. It's kind of, if you think about it, similar to Google Docs. So Google Docs is a collaborative environment where you can all work on one document at the same time. And it'll kind of keep track of that. This does the same thing. The difference in using wikis and blogs and journals in Blackboard is that you can grade within Blackboard. Now, I will say as a sidebar that both for blogs and wikis, the tool itself in Blackboard is a bit clunky, and that there's probably a lot better free tools out there that would make this process a lot easier for your students and probably look a lot nicer and just work better. But the only difference there is if you have them use a blog or a wiki outside of Blackboard, you would need to have them share the site with you so you can monitor it, and then you would have to do a separate individual column in the Grade Center to enter the grade. It's not difficult to do. It's just an extra step if you don't want to use the tools within Blackboard itself. But that's the big difference. So journals, think about private conversation between you and your student, mostly used for reflection. A blog is a place for you to post something or have a student post something and other students respond and comment on that post without any back and forth expectation, just one comment. And then a wiki is a collaboration space and a collaboration tool for a group of students or an entire course to contribute to one shared project. And you can grade all of these things within Blackboard. And that's it. It's that easy. It's that quick. If you have any questions, like always, please shoot us an email at CETIS Help or stop into the office and we can talk through this. A lot of times what happens is because some of these tools are a little tricky to conceptualize how it really fits into my class, we default to the discussion board because we understand that concept pretty well. But these other tools are there for a reason because sometimes they just are more appropriate for what you are trying to achieve with your students. So if you have a question, please feel free to ask. We can talk through this. We can brainstorm with you, and we're happy to do that. So next month, it looks like on November 2nd will be our next Design Time episode, and it will be on the HTML editor text box. So you see that text box pop up in your classes, and there's a lot of tools on there, and you probably ignore half of them. I know I do sometimes, but there's a lot you can do with that text editor box. So we will spend a few minutes showing you that, talking through those tools, and we'll see you next time. Have a wonderful day, everybody.